Welcome to M2M Coverage. Today we are discussing a recent trade that was made in the NFL by the New York Jets. This one caught some eyes in the media, and Sam Darnold has been traded to the Carolina Panthers for a sixth rounder in the 2021 draft, a second rounder, and a fourth rounder in 2022. So this was a big move because there was a lot of question marks for the Jets at quarterback. We didn't know what they were going to do with regards to drafting a quarterback. They do have that high pick up there with the second pick. So first question is, what does this trade mean for these teams and other teams in the NFL that might be in these teams' divisions? Geoffrey, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So for the Jets, Sam Darnold has been miserable for them, and I think it's time for a change. So they have the second overall pick. So they're obviously going to draft a quarterback with that pick. And then now the question is if they're going to draft Zach Wilson or Justin Fields. I personally think that Justin Fields is a better quarterback. I think he's the second best quarterback in this draft class. But, there are rumors that Zach Wilson might go ahead of him, that the Jets are high on Zach Wilson. And I don't think this is a great move for them. I don't think Zach Wilson is the right quarterback. And, the Jets still have most of the issues that they had last year. Their offensive line is still bad. They got Corey Davis, so their receiving corps has improved a little bit, and the defense is garbage. But they got a new head coach. Maybe they might improve, but I don't see them being a much better team. And now, as for the Panthers, I like this move for both Sam Darnold and the Panthers because, I thought Sam Darnold would be a great quarterback when he first got drafted, but, that has obviously not happened. But I don't think any quarterback would have done well in the situation that he was in because, he was in an extremely dysfunctional organization, the Jets, and he had possibly one of the worst coaches in NFL history. Adam Gase is an absolute idiot. He's the furthest thing from an offensive genius. I was completely wrong on him. The only reason he had a good coaching season was probably because Peyton Manning called all the plays. They should be giving Peyton Manning a coaching job for what he was able to do with this absolute dimwit as his offensive coach. With that being said, Matt Rhule is a much better coach. I think he can, he did pretty well in his first season. And Joe Brady, who is Sam Darnold's offensive coach now, is a great offensive mind. He saw what he's able to do with Joe Burrow in LSU, and I think he can unlock Sam Darnold's full potential. I think the Panthers will be a formidable team. I think they will be similar to the Titans, where the team will still be dependent on their running backs, but they're still going to have some decent games because of their quarterbacks. I think their quarterbacks will perform well for them.
Okay, Geoffrey, go off. There's two trains of thoughts. There's two trains of thought on Sam Darnold. There's one that like the Jets kind of ruined Sam Darnold, which is what you said. But there's also those people who don't believe in Sam Darnold as a quarterback, that don't think he has the talent, that he just makes mistakes, that he can't do it at the NFL level. And a lot of those people are Jets fans. So I know a couple Jets fans who might be happy that they got rid of Sam Darnold. Kevin, how do you feel about the teams in the NFL that are surrounding the Jets and the Panthers, as well as the Jets and the Panthers, in response to Joffrey?
Yeah, I'll go more into the Panther situation in our next segment. But just talking about the Jets, I agree with Joffrey that the Jets, there's no significant improvement. Yes, I think the Jets did well in getting at least a second rounder from Sam Darnold, but you can't expect Zach Wilson to just immediately make your franchise that much better. You're still having gaping holes on the offensive line, even though you struck gold with Mekhi Becton last year, and on the defense. I'm sure Robert Saleh is going to bring in a new culture, but we don't know if he's a proven head coach yet. We just don't know that yet. In regards to the Panthers, Joffrey says that Matt Rhule is a much better coach. I don't think we can say that yet. We have not seen that. Albeit the Panthers had a lot of holes last year, and you can't really blame Matt Rhule because that was like a rebuilding year. But then again, they still won 4 games. I think it's too early to say whether or not Matt Rhule is a good NFL coach. Joe Brady, we thought that his offense is going to revolutionize this Panthers team. They have so many weapons. Yes, Christian McCaffrey was hurt. Yes, Teddy Bridgewater is kind of physically limited, but still, this offense kind of underwhelmed. And when you're thinking about the type of hype that was brought into offseason when Joe Brady was hired to Carolina. So I think this hype train for the Carolina Panthers needs to kind of slow down a bit. But just talking about the NFL as a whole, the fact that Sam Darnold only cost a second rounder with some additional late round picks. And you didn't see the Broncos trade for him. You didn't see the 49ers trade for him before they made that trade up to number 3. You didn't see other teams that need quarterback trade up for him. I think that might be kind of a mandate on what the NFL thinks about Sam Darnold, as in that the Panthers were the only suitors for Sam Darnold. I find that very interesting. I know that a lot of people wanted the Steelers to trade for Sam Darnold. And as of right now, I don't see any reports saying that the Steelers were in any sort of talks for Sam Darnold. I mean, if you think that Sam Darnold's good, he has potential. He's really young. Let's not forget that. And he only cost a second round pick. Why didn't you even have any talks with him? So I think that is very indicative of what the NFL as a whole thinks about Sam Darnold. And I know a lot of the fans right now think that Sam Darnold is very underrated. He's been developed wrong, and a lot of people are blaming his issues with Adam Gase. But I think it's fair to say that some of his issues might be a Sam Darnold issue, not the coach issue.
Yeah, just a quick response. I agree with some of the things that Kevin said. It is kind of weird that no one else tried to get Sam Darnold. But the fact that you think that Adam Gase is a better coach than Matt Rhule it makes no sense to me. Adam Gase is one of the worst coaches I've ever seen. Anyone is better than Adam Gase. I'm better than Adam Gase. You're better than Adam Gase. Anyone could do a better job than him. Matt Rhule, I mean, he might not be a great head coach, but I will tell you right now that he is better than Adam Gase.
Hold up.
Yes.
Just for a correction, I never said that Matt Rhule is worse than Adam Gase. I simply said we don't know yet if Matt Rhule is a good NFL head coach.
We know that. We know that because
we do not know that. Matt Rhule has
you can get worse than Adam Gase.
No,
he's a literal black hole.
I'm not comparing Matt Rhule with Adam Gase.
Worse with Adam Gase.
I'm not comparing Matt Rhule with Adam Gase. My simple statement is we do not know yet if Matt Rhule is a good NFL head coach. We have 1 year to look off of, and then that 1 year he had sub 5 wins. So we do not know if Matt Rhule is a good NFL head coach yet. I need to see more because this Panthers team was talented. So you can't even blame the roster. Yes, it's a rebuilding year. That's why I'm waiting to judge whether or not Matt Rhule is a good coach or not. But I think it's too early to say he's a good coach.
Now, all I'm going to say is that no matter who the coach is going to be better than Adam Gase. No matter, I mean, if the Broncos got them, he would have a better coach than Adam Gase. I mean, Matt Rhule, I mean, it's still too early, but I think he has, he's shown potential. He's shown that he can win games. He's shown that he can play in close games. And I think he will be a pretty decent coach next year. I think the Panthers will be an 8-9 team. I think they'll be a decent team. And, the coach calling all the plays will still be Joe Brady. It won't be Matt Rhule. And I strongly believe in Joe Brady. I strongly believe in what he can do. We already saw what he was able to do with the Saints. We already saw what he was able to do with Joe Burrow. And I think he is going to do something similar with Sam Darnold.
But then again, gotta think about where Matt Rhule comes from. He's a college head coach. He came from Baylor. So in the NFL, you don't know necessarily whether or not he'll translate. And I think Kevin brings up a good point because Nick Saban is a horrible NFL head coach. He's the greatest college football head coach of all time, but we don't know if they can do it in the NFL yet, and we haven't seen that evidence. So if you're just debating between the two head coaches, then yeah, I think Kevin has a more valid point. But I guess we're talking about Sam Darnold as a whole. I think it's a good situation for him. At least it's looking up compared to the Jets. But yeah, we'll see what he can do, and we'll see if the Panthers might even draft another quarterback, which is what some mock drafts still have them doing at 8. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel, the M2M Network, for more sports and entertainment content.